How are you? Pretty good. How about you? I'm doing well. Better, I hope. I'm doing much better. Yeah.
The Pleasant View City Planning Commission for September the 2nd. Meeting or expression of thought, and we've asked Commissioner Farr to offer that for us. Pleasant View City Planning Commission.
Okay, I have a quick quote
September
before
the
the
2nd.
prayer.
Okay.
And it's a quote by Samuel Adams.
Meeting or
For
expression of
true
thought,
patriots
and
to
we've
be
asked Commissioner
silent
Farr
is
to offer that for
dangerous.
us. Pleasant View
And I really
City Planning
appreciate
Commission.
that.
Okay,
at
I
a
have
time
a quick
where there
quote
tends to
September
be
the
a
2nd.
lot of conflict.
And
It's a
things
quote by
going on.
Samuel Adams.
I
Appreciate differences of opinion and that we live in a country that we can speak out and share those differences. Okay, and then I'll say a prayer. We are very grateful as members of the Planning Commission that we can be here and to help represent Pleasant View and the citizens here. We appreciate the citizens who take the time to come to our meetings and who are willing to express their viewpoints for us to consider. And we appreciate this beautiful country that we live in and this amazing city, place of peace and security here underneath Ben Lomond, a place for us to live and enjoy. We ask thy blessings upon us and those that we love, and in particular, those who serve in the military and the police forces, and all of those who represent us and put their safety on the line for our safety and our freedoms. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Entertain a motion that we approve the agenda as so written today. Thank you. We got a motion from Commissioner Cummings and a second from Commissioner Stokes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. First item is administrative. It's discussion and a decision on a conditional use in Pole Patch. It's the Simmon House located on parcel 16-012-0045. Jill? Put your last name. You're a face on Zoom, but we can see a name. If you'll correct that, we'd appreciate it. Well, I guess not. It's a
an
dug
old
well.
that is no longer in use and has no rights to anybody.
Water suppressed, fire suppressed, or not? Is it capped? How does it dry up? Nobody knows? Something, then when there is water, it could be a
That's why we
problem.
want it done with a licensed driller. They know exactly what to do and to make sure it's done right, so there's no issues for the Simon home.
Now, if you can hold on just 1 second, please. Commissioners, any questions for Joe? but we will offer due respect for any who have comments. So if you'll please come forward and state your name and address, and yes, would you please? Secondary water up in Pole Patch.
No, but there didn't used to be secondary water up 900, and then D. Huxley paid for secondary water to come in, so that up above there got water,
Yeah, so
secondary water.
Pine View Water's been approached several times, and they're just not showing any interest.
I don't blame him.
So the city has an agreement with Pole Patch. It's, if you will, a grandfathered agreement, but they're limited to so much water for vegetation and trees. In other words, they can't just use unlimited culinary water. This is conditional use, so this is ours to approve or deny the conditional use in Pole Patch for the Summon home located on parcel 16-012-0045. On the agenda is a discussion decision for conditional use in the Simon Go subdivision, Ocean Star Winery located on parcel 19-155. Jill? Water, sewer?
Water is through Bonavista, and Bonavista has approved it. They've said there's adequate amount for them. Ask, it is actually the max for Bonavista. That's why we went down to 15. It might change a little. Sorry,
Water retention?
the water retention is more than enough.
It looks
That
more
is one
than
thing
enough.
that I check with the zoning, because we have to make sure.
Record? Water table.
Yep.
Staff or Bonavista, or are you happy with what's being asked of you? Are you required to have a French drain around the property, or?
I don't know if we're required, but we are putting a small basement in the building for.
In your basement area? Utah, I don't believe.
Yeah, so these guys, they're growing grapes up in Snowville. They have the vineyard up there. They just started.
Those that are in the restaurant can actually see the production taking place, or will that be?
They'll take them on tours, but they won't actually see that. There is a tasting area in the front where they can.
So hard to come up with.
I'm sure they would have to have a liquor license.
At that site, does the state prohibit that due to the liquor law requirements?
I don't think it's any different than Olive Garden. They sell wine at their restaurant. There's lots of restaurants that serve alcohol.
No, I know serving
He's
is
at-
allowed.
We're talking about buying.
You're going to follow the
Yeah, there's
state
various
laws.
state rules
That
and
would be one thing that we would require.
It'll be online sales as well as local distributors.
Most of their sales will be, they're going.
Number 2 on the administrative, a conditional use in the Simon Gold subdivision for the Ocean Star Winery located on parcel 19-016-0155. Favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Preliminary subdivision, Weber View 2, located on 275 West between 3275 North and 3100 North. I mean, we like to have the applicant here to ask questions, but as I've looked through the packet, everything's spelled out pretty clearly. Looks like they are compliant. Here's my thought, and forgive me, this isn't a public hearing. And there again, we do want to hear from the citizens, and so we will allow time to speak. I guess my question would be, do we table it for the 16th so these folks can ask the applicant? Or can you answer the questions effectively?
What I would suggest is let's go through it like normal. And welcome to hear from these people. I'll answer the best ones I can. I've actually answered quite a few via email.
Have they approached the property owners for purchase?
They're owned all by Ivory, all of them.
Oh, they've already purchased the ground.
Purchased all of it.
Okay.
So it's currently RE20, half-acre lots. It's
Okay.
staying that way.
Good. You're saying as staff, you're making recommendations to the applicant, and you're letting the applicant know that that water needs to be available.
Correct.
Being removed.
Looked at. What?
Some of those trees that you're talking about are going to be part of the subdivision. No?
This is the Hills property. We're right here.
Okay. specific concern.
When you disrupt area, you're gonna disrupt and have critters, whether they're spiders,
So it's not they're worried about deer.
it could be anything that's living
Okay.
in there. Because nothing's touched that for a long time,
Sure.
to be honest. And our public works director has actually walked down there and with the developer, showed him exactly, because there was some concerns.
Over water was lifted. Did that say as many homes as we approve can be built? Because during the moratorium, if I recall right, there was only a few permits per year that was available. And then go ahead, I'm sorry.
Once the moratorium was lifted, we can't limit on how many. We just have to make sure our facilities so our water, our sewer, our streets, all those can adequately handle the impact.
Please.
About moratorium, is that all right? In regards to moratoriums, you have to work closely with the state, as it cannot be an indefinite thing. In fact, the state puts limitations on what you're allowed to put moratoriums for, how long they are. And when you do, if you do meet that criteria, it almost from the time that you are approved for that moratorium, you are in the process of how to lift it now. Because they will force you to find a way to provide for people to have use for their land. And that the burden really is then put back on the city. It could be, I'm not in disagreement. It's absolutely water's 100%, imperative to make sure that everybody's provided for, but the state, because of real estate laws and because of the, land use laws, you can't just say we're not out of water. The city will be forced to find a way to provide water.
And I guess I'll just piggyback on Councilmember Yuri's points, but as a city, obviously this is something we're watching incredibly closely. And as part of that, if there is a need for ordinance adjustments and changes with how our water structure is, basically our rate structure, to help reduce usage, we will absolutely look at those mechanisms and see what we can do. So we're looking very closely, and those things will come forward as needed.
So the culinary water for Pleasant View with this summer, the wells are standing at a pretty constant level, where they dropped considerably.
We're in a decent spot right now. I don't want to put too much out there, but we know that we have a good water supply. However, we're very hopeful we have a good winter. I will say that much. And so right now we're not at all worried about running out, but just, keeping in mind that, okay, if we don't have another good winter, we may need to make some adjustments to how we're approaching water.
We're being proactive. Both Amy and Tyson are constantly having that conversation, so we don't get.
will stand if the applicant puts forth the application and staff recommends approval, meaning there's enough water, then we really shouldn't be worried about that because that's a staff problem, correct? Or city problem?
It is a city problem, and I appreciate that you bring it up.
I think
It's
it's
good
good
to
that
have
we
that
bring it up,
conversation.
frankly.
So we look at everything, but it's nice to have our checks and balances with you guys. Hey, did you look at this? Did you look at this?
Because if we have a low winter, that are here, what does that mean for a subdivision that's under construction where 25 new homes are coming in? We just say, well, we'll find the water for you because we've approved your application?
You have a good valid point.
Well, and I will throw out there too, I know I've seen some of the buzz with the legislative session this year, and water is definitely one of those issues that's going to be coming up for discussion as to how we handle all of this growth and development with the water limitations that we've experienced this year. And so that's absolutely something coming up. I think we're going to be very considerate of how those things work. But again, I do appreciate you bringing this up because it's important for the public to know how we're addressing water, how we're considering this. But to Jill's point, we really cannot prohibit or limit under the current scope, and we really don't see a need with the supply that we currently have to do so.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, that helps.
And with that, some comments have been brought up to me. Hey, we want to keep that small town feel. We should have
That too as well. That's, may I speak to the audience?
Sure.
Is that all right? And I'm not actively necessarily promoting this, but this is where it's really important that you talk to your city council about your zoning. If the way, the look and feel of your city, because that's really where, is that appropriate that I say that your zoning laws and where you're allowed to have certain acreage of lots and whatever, by law, we have to allow people to do something with their land. And so the look and feel of your city really depends on you letting your council know what you want the look and feel of your city to be, where you want a higher density, a lower density, commercial and things like that. And so if they have zoned that, like Jill said, and an applicant comes in and the zone is already third acre, half acre lots, if they meet the adequate facilities and all those conditions, by law, we can't reject them just because, based on other things that are very, very valid and important. But the way that that gets controlled is by your general plan and with your communications with your council of what you want your city to look like. And that zoning has to happen before there's an application submitted.
Yeah, so I'm comfortable with all that. Thank you.
Yes, if that's okay.
It is. The RA20 is perfect. And I'll just piggyback on my own question. If there are restrictions that are coming next year, it'll affect all of us anyways, not just those 25, but every citizen in Pleasant View. So.
with water, yes. Yes.
And we'll obviously be very communicative about what is happening next year depending on
concern is when you look at the creek, if it's on the edge of the property, and I understand that RE20, it does allow that, but I always try and look at natural vegetation resources. Taken care of. Okay,
So
because the
everything-
way
if
that it
this
looked
is a
there,
better view.
okay.
'Cause
Yeah,
I was
let
trying
me
to
look
show
at the
you, but
view.
with my-
Okay,
My wonderful shakiness.
okay.
I apparently haven't had enough.
That Ivory's going to be developing does have a spring. Spelled out.
Because it's private
Are
property.
those
you
concerns
don't
spelled
feel
out
that-
in the packet
Okay.
as a staff concern?
It is in
Okay.
this study, which we have required it.
Okay.
by the way, there's a slope problem here, and if you're gonna develop this, there's gonna be a retaining wall.
It is on the plat and we make it a known thing.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. All right, like I said, this isn't a public hearing, but we will invite a few of you to come up and voice your concerns, and we appreciate that. There won't be a opening for a public hearing or a closing for a public hearing. Just we'll give you the respect to offer comments as you'd like.
You're smiling. You're smiling. That's
think it's
fine.
awesome.
That's fine because, you know, we have lived there 6 years. One of the reasons why we bought up here was because we felt like it was an established neighborhood and there wasn't going to be a bunch of construction going on. We live right on the corner. So all those cement trucks and all those dump trucks and all those dirt hauling trucks are going to come right past our house, go east on 3275 into the pasture.
You're going to get improvements.
Because right now,
There will be sidewalks.
up on 400,
Well, on every,
I don't know about
yeah, I don't know about 400 either. It's not part of,
The drainage.
Well, I understand that.
It's under design right now.
we have, and it's just part of growth. This is a subdivision that's going to take place, and it'll be a period of time, and then it's done, and all of your concerns will be addressed. I don't know about 400, but everything that you mentioned on 3275,
The
they'll be
city,
addressed. The
oh.
water will be addressed, the street will be addressed,
okay,
so that'll be a benefit for you
okay, so you are saying that there will be a sidewalk and curb and gutter
on the new
3275.
development. Is that correct?
New development, yes.
unfortunately limited roadway funds. We're working on that right now, but we were absolutely happy to look at that for you. I'll get you my card. Thank you for the comment.
Thank you. Yes.
Oh, yeah, no, Amy and I will talk with Tyson, for sure.
Our video, audio people here with the issues we've had in the past, and they did say that if we speak closer into the microphones, it's more audible on the digital side. Sorry, just a friendly reminder.
Citizens, comments, please.
Oh.
Ross, I know you, but if you'll state your name and address.
150 West. The white spot right here is my home.
I'm going to give you a microphone. Sorry.
There, you want a laser pointer?
That's my home right there. I thoroughly enjoy the open fields and the deer and all the activities that are there. However, and my question is, and maybe it's already been answered, but as I see it, the Hales are going to continue to own that piece right behind me, and then the subdivision won't start until we get to the bottom of the hill, and then that whole piece is fairly level. And so there's, excuse me, yeah.
So this will remain in the Hills' possession.
Okay, how are Hales going to get out of that piece? If they want to develop it, how are they going to get out?
If you can see right here, this will be a stub road, so they can continue that.
Okay, because,
And then this, they can either turn over here, that stub road right here.
no, that's not
Right,
a,
sorry, right here. They can continue that onto their property and down.
go up the hill?
Yep, so right here. There we go. So they can either bring that road over here or also bring this road over and have access to their property. We just have to give them opportunity, and however they want to design it, whatever works for them, we'll work with them to make it work.
Because they can't get out to the south, because the way the houses are built there now, there's not space to get out onto Lowen View Drive.
I believe
It
that's
used to be,
correct.
but then they changed the requirements for the width of the road. So you're trapped there if you go between where Lindsay's used to live. So that's why I say you need to make sure that the Hales have.
That's about 64 feet, approximately.
Where's
Don't
that?
know how much. Give or take some, right here. They could punch a road right there to Loma View Drive if they really wanted to. We require 60-foot residential roads, or right-of-ways. We'll put it right of
Oh,
way.
so you're saying they would have to come through there? Okay.
It's just, I'm not saying that's what they're going to do,
No,
it's
no,
just
no.
an option.
But they can do.
They can,
But
correct.
there's a couple of houses right there that they can't get between at the present time.
What is the Hills property zoned?
Okay.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Olson, any additional comments or questions?
Well, I'm just looking at how that road's gonna come around. So you're gonna have one east-west road behind Dipoma's then.
Mhm.
And there'll be one road in there, and then the curve up there will come around and eventually give them space to continue that
So this is,
road. Yeah,
this is what the subdivision looks like that they're proposing.
okay.
And
So now where's that cul-de-sac?
right, it'll go right here. Or sorry, up here. It'll
Okay,
end up right here.
so
then
so
this road
those lines on this map then aren't accurate, right?
No, this is from a
Okay.
previous subdivision that was recorded.
That's why I'm confused then.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So this is where the cul-de-sac is. If you kind of look,
right,
right here,
right.
it will end up being about right here.
Okay, that makes more sense now.
And then, so this road will punch right about there, which would be approximately right there.
Okay, that makes a little more sense.
And just so everyone's aware, this property is not in Pleasant View.
It's North Ogden.
It's
Right, yeah, my
either Weaver
back
County-
fence there I'm on North Ogden, and my back fence, the steep hill that goes down is Pleasant View. So Hales will still keep that.
This is actually, I think, Weaver County. Tom, is it Weaver County? Because it's not in Pleasant View. It's in Weaver County. I can 99.9% guarantee it's in Weaver County, just the way it's laid out right now.
Okay.
It's an island of somewhere it belongs, I don't know.
You know, in the future, Jill, just for convenience, if you could overlay the proposed, overlay it over the existing site. See, you got it close, but if you could take that thing and put it exactly where it is, that would give people an idea as to,
Yeah,
That would be cool.
it'd be a lot nicer.
yeah, and it'd be
Bill is
easy.
good with the maps.
Well, I'm glad you're not getting rid of our sledding hill. I'm sorry that we're chasing all our deer out and our,
Mhm.
I've enjoyed for 55 years, but
Yeah. Could-
I
Could
agree
I
with you, but I will say there's a lot of residents that'll be glad the deer are going away. So,
Well, and could I speak to the deer issue? Because we live in a home where we've had a number of construction, and it really hasn't interrupted our deer. They're eating out of my bird feeder all the time. The deer just seem to come and still are happy to be here, even with all of the construction that have been around. So I think you might be surprised. Just put out a bird feeder and they'll come. Well, I put it out for the birds. And I've got to the point that I have to sprinkle it every morning, because if I leave it filled, they eat it. But the deer come.
You're gonna give access to that big piece of property with our little road to get in there. This guy, y'all better get used to hearing ATVs, because them kids, the 25 home, they all gonna buy them an ATV and a motorbike, and you're not gonna be able to keep them out of there, because my daughter in Louisiana has a big, beautiful piece of property. They built a big subdivision, and they just get it, you can't get them out of there once they get started. That's the problem you're gonna have.
We've got it right
A
now.
lot of noise.
We've got the little kids on motorbikes.
Right, little motorbike, little ATV.
yeah, that whole area right now is used for dirt bikes currently.
That's your problem. I wouldn't have access to that, off that subdivision.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other comments you'd like to make? No, thank you. This, please.
I don't have a comment on this subdivision. I was listening via YouTube I was the number one issue on the docket tonight. Unfortunately, I have no idea what was said.
Oh.
It was approved.
Simmons. I don't know why I call you Simon, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Well, we have a Simmons and a Simon right below us, so you're good.
And so I just wanted to come and
You made
answer
it.
any questions. I knew you discussed my property. I didn't hear any of the conversation.
Well, everything you wanted to hear would be good news, so.
I heard one comment is the well cap, and I thought I better go down there just to answer a few questions. So
I'll talk to you.
Is there anything that I need to know?
Excuse me. Wasn't supposed to answer.
Okay.
Aaron,
If I get the building permit and build my.
All right, thanks.
I'm happy.
Sorry about that. That's embarrassing.
I have a question.
Thank you.
for-
In regards to this?
Yes.
Okay.
So, Jerry's comments have given me pause about this. I'm worried about the condition of the road. I feel like maybe this discussion should be tabled, or I'm wondering, like, until we can talk to Ivory Homes and see how are they gonna get the trucks in safely without any problems to damage the roads. I'm also curious about what Sarah was saying about the 400, the project that you guys are working on with the city. So I'm wondering if you know, like, have an expected, like, timeline on that or anything like that. Any information on that subject I would be grateful to hear.
So yeah, as Jill mentioned, that is currently in design right now with the 400. And Tyson would be really good to touch base with to kind of see what the status is on that. But you make an excellent point. We've had issues in the past with truck traffic, and we typically try to work with the developers to make sure that they're not causing more damage or that they're working in areas where the improvements are going to take place so usually developers are pretty good to work with us on navigating a path in so that they don't disrupt the neighbors as much and some of that. But if you'd like to table that, we can get you more information. I don't have all of it offhand. I apologize.
Just kind of raise my eyebrows to some concerns.
Yeah, and funny enough, I already emailed Tyson tonight to get information on the
So,
comments.
Would Ivory Homes have a perspective on this or any answers for me?
It would be more of Tyson. Because
Our public works director to clarify
So Tyson would.
But our city council representative has already disclosed that that's being
Correct.
addressed, and it has,
No, that's in the budget.
Yeah.
It's in the budget and it's getting
Yeah,
worked on.
so-
I don't know timeframe as
timeframe.
when,
Yes.
because we still have to abide by our process.
Okay.
to do the design.
Well, and it is in all of our ordinances.
Just
The
for
developers have to
clarification,
maintain,
though-
Take care of the property as they're building.
I just want to make
That's
sure.
down, they have to make sure that things are in a repairable order.
And I do agree with your comments that this would improve, like, those kind of things in the long run, but in the short run, I'm just like,
Just for clarification, what I disclosed was public information as far as line item in securing funding for that. As far as the concept, how it's going to work out, that's yet to be determined. But funding has been put into the budget for some we have some storm water related streets that need some upgrading, and that's one of them. There you go.
Okay, thank you.
It's in design, we have our process, we have to make sure, what it's gonna look like, how much it's gonna cost, where everything's gonna lay, and then go out to bid and things like that. So I mean, we, as a city, we have a specific process we have to abide by.
We do, but to Alicia's point, with this development pending, I think we could look at what options we have to expedite the process and look at that. So I'm happy to. I was able to email our public works director already on the comments made, but I'm happy to get further information on that. And as Jill indicated prior, I think the applicant's actually requesting a table for this evening so that they can come back and present their proposal. But that's completely up to you all, how you'd like to
And
handle that.
If you guys decide to table, we can either do the.
I don't personally see a reason to table. I don't see that Ivory is going to be able to answer any questions differently than what's been answered by staff.
And I don't think that that's any issue whatsoever.
That's just my opinion, but if you folks disagree with me, we can table it.
When you read the things that are specified in the document, it says mainly this just allows them to progress to the next step in moving forward, and a lot of these things will be examined at that time.
That's correct.
So it's not over by any means.
So this goes to city council, and then will the site plan come back to us again or not?
No.
The only reason, if you recommend an approval or a denial to council, it'll move on to council. I've got to make sure I talk loud enough so it picks it up. The only way it would come back to you guys is if the layout changes.
Okay. All right, so council will have the opportunity to look at this, and will you have a public hearing at that point?
It's not a public hearing, it's a public meeting, so the mayor would, if the mayor wants to give that option like you did tonight, he could do that.
If there's,
Nobody will.
if it's an item on the agenda, well, people can ask questions and make comments at the beginning of the meeting no matter what, but you're more likely to receive answers if it's an item on the agenda, if that makes sense. So if it's on the agenda and they address the council and mayor at the beginning of the meeting with your concerns and questions that perhaps you were here for planning commission and address those concerns, you know, maybe everything that happens in this meeting will be typed up and given as part of the staff report for this item on the agenda for city council. So maybe refer to that. You know, I'm an advocate for you guys. If you want to come and talk and address the council, this is your city. You have legit concerns, address your council.
And I agree with that. We normally don't allow public comments in meetings that aren't open to the public, which this one is not. But out of respect, we certainly want to hear your concerns. But also,
Why would we send a letter if it wasn't open to the public?
Because it's in our ordinances, we have to legally notice it as a public meeting, which it was. And that's also with state law.
so it is a public meeting. And sir, if you have any additional comments, please step forward. We'd love to hear them. They'll be on the record.
No, I think you got a big sinkhole right when you turn on the 3275. Once you're gonna get those big trucks going in there, we're gonna love having a dump truck or a cement truck stuck in front of our house. Y'all have a serious problem there.
Well, and also too, we have our city administrator here, Amy, who will be,
I'm from Louisiana, and I know what a bad road is, but Louisiana ain't got nothing on that street right now.
wow. Oh, no, our city administrator is here, also Amy, maybe. And so she also will provide what happened at this meeting, as well as I'm the liaison for this, you know, planning commission meeting. I'll provide the input and stuff that you guys, during our discussion, whether or not you're allowed to get up at that time, we will absolutely share everything that was said and the concerns.
Okay, I'm ready to entertain a motion. We can either approve, deny, or table.
I mean,
That's correct.
I want you
question for
guys all
me,
to
or
understand,
question for
no
everybody?
motion is a bad one.
We have further discussion to have first.
Okay.
Hold, please.
So
Please.
within our documents and our city protocols, to allow that construction to happen, there have to be safety measures met in order for this to proceed and go forward, correct?
Correct.
But that's way down the road.
But it's down the road
It's during as well.
Yeah.
and during.
If
But
if there are holes that
this
are gonna
problem-
swallow up a dump truck, it'll be addressed.
will be addressed. Is that what I'm understanding? I just can't go forward without knowing this? Okay, all right.
Okay, so how the process works, it's just a process, that's why I'm telling you. Regardless of what you guys choose, this is how the process goes for every subdivision. They do a geo study that covers the water table. That is a big concern for a lot of us in the development group, which the development group is the Public Works Director, the city engineer, the mayor, Amy, the city administrator, myself, and Ryan, the fire marshal. Am I missing someone? Ben, who's our subdivision inspector. So Ben actually goes out while they're doing the subdivision constantly making sure things are done well. We have SWIP that we also have to watch constantly. That's during the construction. So we require them to do the geostudy, and we get the full report.
And Ben will require them to make sure the roads are maintained and there aren't holes big enough to swallow a dump truck and all that good stuff, correct?
That was a car. I was getting nervous. Ben covers the subdivision, the safety to an extent, because they have a.
So if I may, these folks are concerned that all this construction is going to make their bad road worse.
Correct.
Is there something that is going to require the contractor to maintain the road so that people can drive on it during construction?
No,
Not their development part, but the parts that they might damage.
no.
So then,
That's our problem.
There is not currently anything in place. However, now that we're aware of the concerns, number one, we're gonna look and see if we can prioritize those roadway improvements. It sounds like they need to be prioritized. And number two, work with the developer to ensure there's no additional damage. Typically, we do have some close working relationships with our developer as developments are going in, because obviously they have a lot of steps along the way and want to have a good relationship with us. And
of course.
so we can absolutely communicate that both ways and hopefully get that addressed. And I do appreciate that being brought to our attention, because, you know, if people don't come and bring those items to our attention, then we do have a road cave in and we don't know about that. So thank you for coming and sharing those interests. Absolutely.
And that's one big thing why we have Tyson in, our public works director, during the whole thing. So that way. Right.
Just for the record, I've been involved in a lot of development and I've seen a lot of things go south, but I've always seen the developer more than willing to help minimize those problems, because it benefits them as well. If there's a big hole in the road and they can't get their equipment in, that stops their construction, correct? So
There are, I want to point out that there are two roads into this subdivision, right? I mean, well, I'm not disputing that, but the one is far less of an impact than the other. It's a smaller road. I mean, I'm sure Christie wouldn't like it, but I mean, Christie Hales that lives right there on the corner. But I mean, that is an option. And I don't know if during the pre-construction meeting with the developer, if that can be said, hey, we want you to go this route, put in the development agreement. So, because that, I've been on that road, I walk on that road, and that is a problem. That road is an issue. So.
Yes, when we have the pre-con, we can easily bring that up and say, okay, we've looked at everything, you're ready for construction, we know kind of what to expect, this will be your best option. So that's part of the reason why we have the pre-con, so they know what to expect, we know what to expect, there's no things falling, and things always change, but that's why we're constantly in communication. Ben and Tyson are constantly in communication.
Okay. Are you still sideboarding?
No, I feel much better. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Good
There again,
point.
entertain a motion to approve, deny, or table.
I would like to propose a motion to approve as presented by staff and discussed by council.
Okay, there's been a motion made by Commissioner Stokes that we approve with all of the stipulated conditions and concerns that are in the packet attached to. Okay, have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a second by Commissioner Lund. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Move forward. We'll go on to item number 4, other business commission communications. Commissioners, this is our time to discuss amongst our body.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And all the concerns and comments will be on the staff report for city council to read it. Hopefully they read their stuff. So.
Not much of a subdivision. It sounds like they're just doing it in one phase.
There's nothing developers.
Subdivisions are difficult.
So they don't usually break it up.
And
into-
they will be there. I live in a subdivision and there are deer in my yard every day, even in July.
Every home that probably has. a
I
lot
have
of
apples. They like them.
construction going on at the same time as used to pumping out
Yeah.
large
Been there forever.
subdivisions.
Subdivisions. The noise.
What's happening to Grandma's closet?
It's gonna be a time frame. I just don't know how long.
I don't think we worry about that. That's
Yeah.
just part of it.
I mean, it just happens. I mean, rats and other
Are,
things.
are we still, we're still live?
We're still live.
Still on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay, so
So moving forward.
commission communications. Commissioners, any concerns or questions or ideas, comments, anything that you'd like to discuss? This is the time.
Could I ask a question about the city in general?
Please.
In knowing that our secondary water is going to be shut off, for individuals who do have like large animals, different things, that we will need to use primary water to feed our horses. So our water use is going to go up. And I know they are going to be watching those sort of things to flag individuals who are maybe using more water.
Water stealer.
The water stealer. I mean, is there a way to maybe have a list that you can notify the city and say, hey, we have like a draft, we've got 3 horses, we will be using more water, so that you don't have to send a enforcement officer to our home?
That's already been addressed.
Oh,
Yeah.
we don't have an enforcement officer.
You're the enforcement.
Bill's the enforcement officer,
Okay.
but she said she's actually started a list right now.
Okay.
And really, we don't want to be heavy-handed by any stretch on this. It's more educational, informational, and obviously to sustain the life of animals. We're not going to take that.
And the first step, if we notice or someone says something, we'll just put a educational door hanger on there. It has our phone number. I would hope that residents would call us and say, hey, I've got 3 horses, that's why.
I think
So
the
then
fact
we can put the
that
name
Pineview
and-
extended to September 20th is a great blessing anyway, so.
Yeah.
Did it change to the 10th?
You're delusional.
I'm not. It was the
always-
20th. I will argue with this. It was the 20th.
I remember the 10th. Okay.
So,
I
It
just
did.
wondered
so
if there
you
was.
guys
Excellent
have
question.
residents
No.
that are concerned around you, please
I think
have
it's
them call us. We are more than happy to help with.
It's just a. it's a
And there
monthly-
is information on the city's
monthly.
website too. I know our public works director has actually put together a page on water conservation, just some good reminders and tips and that, so.
Tyson is very proactive.
Okay, and whatever. I mean, we're dealing with the same thing, right? The drought and heat, and we're all concerned. So.
Yes. Pineview's different, they control a different area. There's plenty of this somewhere else. I want to say. Anyways.
Tucson.
Okay, I don't have any further. Did that answer your question?
It did, thank you.
All right, staff communications training.
Go ahead. Do you have anything?
I don't think I have anything this evening.
As you can tell, Ashley's not here, she has stepped down. So I was asked by the mayor, I had to remember, I'm like, who came in and asked me, if you guys have any ideas, we now have 2 alternate seats. Jeff, welcome to the big boy table. Just to let him know. And Jim and Alicia, you're going to conference, right? I couldn't remember. I got the agenda and I printed it out. So, going forward, if it's close to Pleasant View, which Taylorsville, we are considering it closed. We aren't gonna get hotels. However, we will do mileage reimbursement. Does that make you happy, Tina?
I won't be there, so I'm okay. If I was gonna be there, I'd
Me
be,
neither.
yeah, that would be great.
I won't be there either.
I know.
Sorry.
So we're in the process of looking at things, trying to make things better, so.
But if it is, obviously in St. George in another location that's, more than, say, 100 miles away, then absolutely we would provide those accommodations for
All
you.
right, no, I think that's fair, and thank you for taking that into consideration.
And hopefully we'll bring back a lot of those that are able to attend, a lot of good information to the commission, to share and.
And I will keep you posted on when more are. It's now that things, I don't know.
Well, now who
Well,
knows where
now
things are
could
going.
go either way, but I'm finding more and more conferences actually happening. So
Sweet.
when I find some for us, I will let you know.
I'll be about 100 to 150 miles off of the Washington coast fishing for tuna on those
Oh,
days.
awesome. So Dean will bring us back some tuna. Just kidding.
Dinner at your place?
Sure.
In fact, I think we ought to do a social this fall.
That would be fun.
Social?
Yeah, a social for council members and.
A little soiree?
Oh.
Sorry.
Just for the letter of the law, commission members.
Commission members.
Yeah, Becky.
Yeah.
Yeah, Becky's good at that stuff. I'm good at just
It
showing
would
up.
be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Are we to training yet?
Now that
Or to training.
Now that we have made the motion on that third item, I will let you know if we have a meeting on the 16th. We may not.
Okay.
I won't be here.
And I won't be here.
So,
And
So,
And in the future, I mean, Jill and I talked about this before the meeting started. She's asking if we should go to once a month again because the developments aren't coming in as fast as they had thought. And she said they've canceled a lot, but really it's only been 5 in 8 months. That's not a lot
5
out of 16.
5 is what's in my head. I'd have to go count it.
So-
However, if we,
So here's my concern. You schedule them as you need them.
amen.
If once a month works, the only thing I don't want to get stuck in is a 10 o'clock,
no,
6 to
I-
10. I don't want to see an
totally
agenda
agree.
like that.
So my idea, I'm not saying we're gonna do it. My idea is that we set 1 month, 1 meeting a month. And then if I notice there's a bigger agenda, I will have a
Why don't you do
special
it
meeting.
just the way you're continuing to do it? We will schedule every other week and you'll just cancel if you'll see early enough. Just send out an email, this meeting's canceled.
Really quick, if you have to cancel, is that noticing required?
I still have to post everything.
So it's not
It doesn't change.
her workload if
My
she
workload.
cancels, she's
Alright,
still.
whatever, once a year
I-
is fine.
I wanted your guys' opinion, that's why I'm asking. Because
Right.
I value your guys' opinion.
I kind of like your idea. Like last time I showed up and no one was here and I was like looking for emails about like updates, about not doing, about anything. I couldn't find anything on there. So I just showed up just in case, but I didn't see a cancellation. I didn't see any email about it. And so I just came and no one was here. But I mean,
If it's a special meeting, all I have to do is post the agenda saying, hey, we have a special meeting.
Done.
I like that.
Super.
Yeah, that's good.
How many days in advance will you let us know?
One.
Oh,
She'll still have to notice it
If-
according to
if
state
we-
law, so you'll
If
know.
we do a special meeting, I have to find out if we have a quorum, so I will ask you guys, hey, could you guys meet this certain day? Kind of like how we did on the, was it 27th of May?
Okay.
Well, that-
Not much I
I
can
don't
remember, other.
So if it's once a month, what week would you be looking at once a month? Like the second week, third week?
We would want it offset from city council for my benefit.
Absolutely.
That didn't answer the question.
The first or the third?
First or third.
Okay, I would stay away from the third week just because you end up with Thanksgiving and Christmas. I don't like third weeks.
YouTube yet?
It'll be the first.
So they won't let us until we close.
Oh.
For some reason, at the last minute, if council or somebody requests, I'm serious, because that will happen. Oh, I
that
know, the
somebody wants
surprise
something
ones.
done, and so hopefully you guys will be on board with the last minute meeting.
That's why I was okay with every other week and then just cancel
Be
them.
noticed ahead of time, because I still
Yeah.
have to notice everything that goes to you guys.
I think it's good though, because you can look at it and go, this is an emergency thing, or this really is something that could be tabled for 2 or 3 weeks.
Motion to adjourn?
Hold, no.
Wait.
We will
We're going to close the
adjourn.
public meeting, but
Okay.
then we're going to have a sidebar.
I just
I
want to do,
have a quorum, I have to be on.
okay, let's quorum.
Okay.
What I would like to do is some staff training, just like it says. Says staff communications and training. So on your gizmo, will you please go to the Pleasant View City offices
You bet.
and get your little measure tool out, please?
Your what?
The measuring
Oh,
tool?
measuring tool, I thought you said
Yep.
something else.
So from Pleasant View City offices, I want you to measure up to the mountain to where the power lines are, please. I'd like to know
Where are you
that
going with
distance.
This is fun.
This will be really cool. You'll enjoy this.
Right about,
Sure. Let's call it right there. Higher.
I want to say it's right about.
Yeah,
Isn't
right
it the
there.
dotted line?
Yeah, so measure from there to the city offices.
Is a crow. Yep.
Right here.
Maps.
How many?
It is
I'm easily impressed.
9,258.2 feet.
Okay,
2
so
miles.
less than 2 miles, correct?
Leave that, my brain can't.
A mile is 4,200 feet, right?
5,280.
5,200, yeah.
Something like that.
No, you're right.
I think that is right.
It is.
So it's less than 2 miles.
Yes.
1.8. Ooh, you are good.
So what I would like to do as a staff education is when people bring up the deer thing, okay? The reason why I was laughing with that lady is because less than 2 miles from our city offices, where deer visit every single day, there is a little over 240,000 acres of national forest that has already been set aside for the deer. So we don't have to take people's private land and dedicate it as game reserve, right? That's not our job.
You are correct.
So when people call in and say, well, I have deer, I don't want the deer interrupted. Well, if you travel across the country and you go to any major city, and it doesn't matter which one, from Snowville to New York City, there is big game that live amongst all of the cities.
Right, and you see poor things on the side of the freeway all
Yeah.
the time.
Oh, yeah.
So
They can't read the
when my
sign,
wife and
that's
I built
why.
our home out in West Layton, we went as far west as we could. We wanted to have seclusion. And there was a dairy field behind us for as far as you could see.
Dairy field?
Yep, and the cows and the smell and all of it was there.
Mm.
And I looked out there and I was ecstatic. I said, this is great, I love it. We won't see homes, I'd like to see the dairy, that's great. Cows came over and they started eating all of our vegetation, so I had to put up a little fence. Now, I was still loving it. Within a year, the farmer sold that ground and everybody got together at Planning Commission and City Council and complained about losing the cows and the pheasants. So it doesn't matter where you live.
Progress, anytime change or progress happens, there will always be a reason for, I grew up on 4,000 North where Deercrest never existed. We floated down the canal, hiked the hill. Now it's the whole hillside of Deercrest, so
Yeah.
Development
it's inevitable,
But it's
but.
just not how it's gonna be, it's when.
And
Yeah.
everybody wants to close the door behind them,
Yes.
everybody.
Well-
But I'm
That's
serious,
where
if people
we're
want the look and their feel of the city of balance of where you want this and this and this, show up. let
But
the
it,
general plans be
even then, it
discussed.
doesn't really matter
No,
though,
it depends
because,
on who's elected the next time.
yeah, and it's private property. So all we're here to do is to guide how the
Yeah.
private property looks. That's it. We
Yeah,
can't
but
really
you can
require it.
zone, the
We
city can
guide.
zone, say,
The only thing
this
we
is
can
A5, that's all
require
you
is our
get.
standards. to
I'm glad
make
we didn't
sure
change
it's
this to
safe and.
RE 15 like was proposed a while ago.
Oh, that was ridiculous. No, I mean, the city does have the power to zone the property and limit what type of development, but it has to allow something.
Yeah, people don't realize that just the first portion of national forest that we can see right here is about 140,000.
Do you know off the top of your head what Tyson's work, like if somebody puts in a work order, what's that one number?
I have one that's living.
I'm
I
looking
wanted to
for
talk
it.
about it in front of that lady, but I
So,
don't want her to
one
join us.
last thing.
Sorry, I don't know it off the top.
Yeah.
Part of the reason we, on YouTube, they can't hear anything. So that's, you know how I've been telling you guys for years to make sure you're talking to a mic? Make sure you're talking to a mic. So you can't do that. Because guess what? We also have to use this for reference.
I understand.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
So motion,
I was talking to mine, but I noticed that at the end of the meeting it was off.
You have to
So,
say that every
sorry about
meeting.
that.
motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Wait, you don't want to hear anything about?
No, we're done.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
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 We'll see y'all next time.